Yeah, welcome to the first meetup stream event that we're trying. We're streaming this to YouTube. Hello, YouTube. And we're also recording this, so it will be later available as a video on demand. We try to not mute this channel, everyone, so behave. We got a nice few topics that we want to show to you. As first there is Pawel showing us how to build AI tools with cables.gl, some introduction into stable diffusion and how you can work with cables.gl. And later on we'll be talking about the recent release that we did with cables, and we'll show you around a few new features that we implemented. The general idea would be that we show stuff around. You are free to ask. Use the YouTube chat or also the meetup chat in Discord to ask questions. We try to monitor these chats and then relay this to the speaker. And then after we got all the Q&A solved and everything is fine and dandy, we will stop recording and then just sit around and talk a bit more as we did with the usual meetups before. So that being said, I guess we could hand over to Pawel, who
Something's wrong.
Okay, so thanks for introduction. And
wait a second, we're still trying to figure out something with audio. Okay, I think now we got it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, there you go, Pawel. Sorry for this, but stage is yours. Teach us how to do stuff with AI and cables.
all right, so thanks for introduction. And before I start talking about my stuff, first I want to say thank you for Tophar, Marfharv, Kirel, and Knight, who they made this cables API patch, and I was basing on this one. So before I started doing my implementation, I cloned their patch. So that was very helpful, and it gave me like the foundation to work on. And like my first project that I made with the cables and stable diffusion API is this GeoDream. So this is the HDRI, not HDRI, it's a skybox generator. So something similar like a Blockade Labs, but in this one you can actually create a 3D environment and then generate the AI image, like AI panoramic image. So here you can see the preview. I will make it full screen to see it better. So this is a preview of a generated image. Here you can see some stable diffusion settings. I will go over in more detail about it in a minute. And here on the top, I will switch to 3D view. So what I did is a 3D editor. And you have all the procedural tools to generate the terrain. So first I can specify the size of my terrain. Like basically I'm generating a depth map. So here in the corner you can see the depth that's being generated live. And I can set the size, minimum depth, maximum depth, the height, so like the basic settings for the view. And then I'm setting some parameters for the terrain. So as the presentation, I will make some example panorama in this. So let's start with some terrain customization. I made some sliders, so everything is controllable with the sidebar here. And this is like a basic Berlin noise stuff with some sliders connected. Let's say in this case I will make less mountains, like more like a flat terrain. Let's try this one, mountains height. So first I set up the terrain. I will make the camera a bit lower, like this. And yeah, let's say I want to make a forest. I can add some objects. And I wanted to make like a all-in-one tool, so I can do some 3D modeling inside the cables patch. So let's model a tree like this. And then I will add the second object. I see that there are some problems with streaming. I see it on YouTube. I guess it works. All right. Okay, so here in this editor, I can make some ugly trees. All right, like this. Then I will make some other one. I don't know. Yeah, let's go with this one. It's like it's not a modeling contest right now. I just make some examples. Then I switch back to 3D view, enable the objects, and I got some sliders to procedurally place it on the terrain. So I'll make some array of the trees, randomize the positions. Oh, not this one. The objects automatically snap to terrain, and yeah, I can scatter it. Make some random scale. All right, let's add the second object. So the idea was to create all-in-one editor. Like you don't need to import 3D models. You don't need to do any kind of 3D modeling in Blender. And yeah, I will quickly prototype it here. Snap to terrain, and yeah, something like that. Randomize the positions a little bit. All right. I won't go into more detail with the trees. Let's start with this basic terrain like this one. And then there's the funny part. And all right, so I go to stable diffusion settings. Maybe I'll just make the height a bit bigger, because this is it's like those trees are colliding with the camera, and I will make it a bit higher, so we'll look from this perspective. Then I go to stable diffusion settings, and here I have the prompt, so I can start typing like beautiful forest, magic trees, forest, and yeah, let's keep it like this one. Generate skybox. And now it goes to Stable Diffusion API. And I actually don't have this Stable Diffusion server on my computer, the one that I'm working on, but it's running on the second computer. So it's connecting over the internet. Okay, this one doesn't look good. So it's like always some you need to spend some time prompting, or give it another try. So let's say beautiful generate skybox.
So maybe while we're waiting, there was a question on YouTube from Carlos. He's asking, is this all a single patch in cables.gl?
Yeah, this is all a single patch, so I can show the patch in a minute. And yeah, I guess I won't spend much time now on trying to get the best image possible. I have some videos, I can share it on the Discord or on YouTube, where I spent like an hour trying and recorded some nice looking pictures. And I think it's like this shows like a basic functionality. And I don't know, do you want to look at the patch inside or some other examples? Yeah, maybe open the editor and I can show it a bit. So this one is actually my private copy, so I have my stable diffusion server plugged in here. And yeah, this is the patch. It's quite a big patch. Most of it is like object editors, so this is hard coded. Like each object is a different area in the patch. So yeah, the stable diffusion. I sent the depth map to stable diffusion. So this image in the corner. This is the preview. So each time I modify something, you can see that this depth map is changing. And this is the image that goes to stable diffusion, and also the prompts and some of the basic settings. But yeah, you can. It's like it just scratches the surface of what can be done in stable diffusion, and there are also some image-to-image or in painting stuff. So it's like much more can be done in in this combination of cables plus stable diffusion. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think I will go into much detail in here. It's like one thing I'm working on is segmentation. So in stable diffusion, you can specify that the tree has some color, and then the cloud has some different colors, and people have another colors. So you can do like a segmentation, and you can also send this kind of image. So you can send depth, you can send segmentation, you can send some outlines, and all of this can be generated in cables. And yeah, that's still work in progress. I want to develop more features to it. But yeah, right now it's just sending the depth. Yeah. Yes, and there's like how much is it? It's like 150 different colors. So it's like yeah, you have a vase color like plate, shower, radiator, glass, clock, flag, like all different kinds of objects. So yeah, but that's on my to-do list so far, and I think okay. I will show some more examples, like the second patch. This one, it's also public on cables, but I will show the video and just talk a little bit about it. So this is my hackathon project.
I just shared the patch, the public patch that you made on the meetup channel. I hope that's fine.
All right. Yeah, sure.
So everyone can check out, like follow the instructions on the instructions on the right to set up stable diffusion on your machine, or connect it to whatever service you got stable diffusion running on, and then yeah, you can try on your own.
Yeah. So basically, to run those patches, you need a stable diffusion server, so you can launch it locally, or you can use some services for it. And yeah, in this example, I'm rendering the animation. So as the base, I take this. Let's rewind it. So as the base, I take the depth image. So I have this depth map. I rendered it in Blender, and then I apply some Perlin noise animation on it, and I'm generating entire sequence. So I drive the like this depth animation in cables, then I render in stable diffusion and save the entire sequence back in cables and compose some spreadsheets like that. And yeah, that's also some early work in progress, but yeah, you can also upload some different images. You don't need to use 3D. So in this case, I used Illustrator and some logo of the hackathon. I send it here, and you have this kind of 3D stuff from flat image. And then I render some animation from it.
It's also pretty fast, or is this like on a
No,
really
it's
beefy machine?
speed up. I mean, it's not. Yeah.
Okay, right, yeah.
Each generation takes about 10-15 seconds, depends on the resolution. It can go up to a few minutes. But yeah, it depends on your graphics card. So it's Stable Diffusion is heavy to use. But
So
yeah,
what you showed there is basically the back end, like stable diffusion configuration and plugins and whatnot.
what do you mean?
Like a few frames back in the video.
Oh, I mean this one, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so this is the Stable Diffusion web UI. So this is like the standard Stable Diffusion UI and here you can set it all manually with the sliders. And with this one, I uploaded the base image, and then I did some variations of it. And this also can be plugged in cables, like to control it with the cables app. And yeah, this is the preview of the project. So this project was also like connected, like cables with Stable Diffusion API, and I have some other projects that I did outside of cables. I mean, the AI part was done outside of cables and then just imported in cables. So this one is reading from a video file, and I have a projection from 4 sides. It's like a mandelbulb fractal, and then I imagined some mushrooms on it with the Stable Diffusion. And this was also a hackathon in Berlin, like last week, I guess. Oh, yeah, this one is also on the main page of cables. So this is like a Blender animation, and then this animation is was put to Stable Diffusion. It's not consistent. Like I would work more with consistency. But the thing is, I'm projecting point clouds from the video. So the 3D model, there's no 3D model, there's a video that saves the entire thing. And yep, I'm also planning to do like this kind of animation in cables, like inside of cables connecting with the API. And this is some other example. So the fish, yeah, with this one I use 3D modeling in Blender. It's also AI generated. But what I want to do is like create some apps in cables to generate AI content and generate this kind of things inside the patch, yeah. And yeah, also this example.
So yeah, actually taking anything as an input, right? So you said you're using audio, you're also using video, and then also of course the prompt, and you're segmenting this. So everything.
Yeah, it's like the combinations are limitless. Like the thing is that you can plug any image to Stable Diffusion and get some result. And with cables, you have a flexibility to create, images based on sound or 3D modeling, some procedural stuff. And yeah, this is. I see a lot of potential, like in this combination, cables plus AI, because you mix the procedural, like this procedural graphics, WebGL, and AI generated images. And I think that the intersection of those two is the really interesting place, yeah. And yeah, So to start it, yeah, the first thing you need is a GPU. Like you need an NVIDIA GPU, I guess. I don't know. I have an NVIDIA, so I don't know how is it with the other GPUs. Yeah. All right. So basically, you go to this. Yeah, read this one. Like the guys who made the cables API patch did this explanation. So download the bat file. Then I don't know if there's a tutorial for stable diffusion, but you need to install the stable diffusion. And if you got the stable diffusion running, then it's just the matter of downloading this bat file and launching it, and it should be okay.
Yeah, we don't need to go into detail. Maybe we should make a little tutorial together and show it.
Yeah, I think I will make a tutorial for sure, like step by step. But I can also, I don't know if we have time for it, but I can send like a basic stable diffusion tutorials to how to set it up. And
yeah, send me all the patches you showed, so we just can put it under the YouTube video in the end, and then everybody can access them.
Yeah, I
Right.
already shared some of them in the YouTube chat, but then in the end, I thought it was easier to just link to your user profile. But yeah, that would be cool. Whatever you want shared, like just share it with us. We add it to the YouTube description then.
Right. So I'm sending like this. This is a tutorial to install stable diffusion locally. So this is like I think this is the most difficult part, but it's easy if it works. Yeah, but sometimes you might have some problems, but it should work. Like it's not that difficult. Yeah, the only factor that might be limiting is the GPU. Yeah, so if you don't have a strong GPU, you cannot run it. But if you want to test it, I can also send it with the link to my server. Like you can try it. If you don't have GPU, I can run my server on my computer and access it. Send the link like for some tests.
Yeah, so basically, if you want to get started, try to go through the tutorials and contact Pawel, maybe here on Discord even. There's one more question. You mentioned the procedural capabilities on cables.gl, and Carlos is asking, what do you mean by that?
So what I mean, when you have, for example, if you want to generate some images in Stable Diffusion, and you use some, let's say, depth image, yeah, like I have this depth map that I generate live in Cables. Usually I would go to Blender, render the PNG, and it would take me some time to do it. And then I have to send it to Stable Diffusion, do some clicking. It would take me 5 minutes. And then if I want to change something, I would need to repeat the process. Yeah, go to Blender, render the image, export it, import it, and all this stuff. And in Cables, what I mean is that you have like everything is in one package. So if I move the slider, then this depth is also changing, yeah, real time. So when I was experimenting with Stable Diffusion, like for example with let's say this patch, I had to render this video. I had to compose it in After Effects. So I had to do stack all these renders from all the perspectives and save the video and then plug it to Stable Diffusion. So I had to do all this, step-by-step procedures. And then if I want to change something, I have to re-render it and go all over again. And with Cables, you can do it all live, yeah? So it's like, I want, higher mountains, for example, yeah? Mountains height, like mountains details, let's say. I will change this slider and it all goes live, yeah? So
And I guess that makes a lot of sense if you're waiting for the result of stable diffusion for some time anyhow, to at least speed up the supply chain, so to say, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you get an immediate feedback, like you see what you get, and you don't need to wait in Blender and export it, do some conversions and stuff, but you can directly send it to Stable Diffusion, and it's like you have to wait like 10 seconds or 15 seconds to generate, and then you can iterate faster. Yeah. And it's like I have some ideas in my mind, like creating this kind of character generators, for example. So there's a lot of processes that can be automated, and you couldn't really do like rendering in Blender, then going back and forth. But I won't explain it because it would take too much time, and I need to make some demos about it to show what I mean. Oh yeah, so yeah, let's say I have these mountains, then I want them to be taller. Let's say I change the height, I change the second slider, and it takes me like 20 seconds to iterate. Yeah. All right. If you have some questions, I feel better when I answer the question. So yeah. So I think we can move on. And
There's a question from Kirel. How did you make the procedural object?
all right. So the you mean the object modeling?
I'm not sure what he means. The def map, I guess. But
the modeler. All right. So I guess I need to open the editor for it. Yep. Make it full screen. Okay, where's the modeler? Yeah. So here's the editor.
This 2D extrusion thing, I guess, right? Can you show it again? Maybe?
Alright, so I go to Objects, I click Open Editor, I will hide this install window. So basically here I have this this area, like a subpatch.
Sorry, when you show this, like try not to zoom in and move so
much.
Right. That makes the stream quality a bit better, a lot better actually. Thank you.
Thanks. So yeah, basically I'm drawing a curve, and there's let's say like this. So I get mouse, XY, then I have some array buffer. So I'm buffering the mouse positions. Redistribute spline points. Then I do array to texture. And I guess I can make some this texture here. Alright, so this is like the one line, so this is the profile of the curve. Saved as texture. And then I made some custom shader that rotates it, it rotates the curve around the y-axis. And then if I want to, if I start drawing a new curve, it resets. So it's a very simple editor. Like I wanted to make it like the most flexible and easy to understand. So if I want to make a cube, then I draw a square like this. It's by default it's a cylinder, but if I change the spin resolution to 4, I get the cube. Yeah. And it's like you can't model everything with this, but it's good enough to make some basic objects.
And then in the end, it's a vertex displacement, or how's the mesh generated? Yeah.
So here, this is the texture, and then I use vertex position from texture and rectangle.
Ah, okay. Yeah, nice. Really cool.
This is like just one small part of this patch, but I think also the UI and usability is like really cool. That works.
Yeah, it's like I want to do it like all in one, so you don't need to import, you don't need to, do 3D modeling in Blender. So it's all one package, and everything can be accessed with sidebar. Yeah, so you don't need to do any patching with it. I also want to make it the way that the users outside of cables, the users who don't have who cannot patch, cannot code, so they could also use it. Yeah.
I think you absolutely achieved that. Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
you can
there's a
draw
lot.
trees and cubes and barrels and everything. It's really, really nice.
It's kind of limited, but you can do like if you use some imagination, you can fake some objects. Like I did like the Greek temple with it, or some streets or things like this. Oh, and one very universal feature is that you can upload the depth map to the terrain. So you can, make your logo or something like that, or make it bigger. And if you use it creatively, you can generate like a city block or something like that. Just draw some rectangles, import the height map, and you can also do a terrain like this. So yeah.
Yeah, I was also really impressed by your short Insta clip with this Chinese street with lamps and people on it.
I can show it, or I can link it, I guess. All right. So what's the plan? Oh, this is interesting. All right.
Yeah, this one I really loved it.
Yeah. So I can.
So in this case, I asked myself, did you create those people, like the persons? Did you create them? You drew them with the model, or?
Yeah. So it's drawing like this. Yeah. This is the person.
Okay.
Like
Oh,
it's very simple.
that's
And
really
then
amazing.
some. Yeah. So it's some basic, random, and there are some randomization and things like this. So arrays, random positions, and stuff.
Yeah, such a good example. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I will make some more videos, like covering some more examples. But so far, I just didn't have too much time to do it. So I'll paste the link in the meetup. Okay, and I think I will not take more time. It's like it's 40 minutes so far, so I think we should move on.
Yes, since I'm not seeing any more questions, just praise. Great work. Just tuned in. Wow. Should be a standalone app. So yeah, thanks for sharing and thanks for showing this. This was super interesting. A super new field on actually how to work with cables in also generative ways in more general way.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you very much. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, and yeah, I will make more. And also, if you have any ideas how to remix it, go ahead. It's I publish most of this stuff, so go ahead, clone it, and remix.
Cool. Thank you.
Great. So I guess we'll be moving on. Basically, same thing. Same concept. We'll be talking about the release that we did a few days ago. And just quickly go through a few features that we want to show. And I actually have to ask, am I now sharing my screen and showing the first two ones? Okay. Okay, but I stay here. Okay, right. So, yeah, as you may have seen, we did a release and had some features in there. One of them was... okay. Yeah, wait a second. Okay, stupid me. Do you hear me now? Okay, sorry. Let's quickly go over this again. So we wanted to make patches a bit more visible and give you the ability to collect patches in whatever manner you want to collect patches. The most visible way of doing this, or the most visible thing, is that we reorganized how we work with featured patches and moved the featured patches in this explore navigation menu to a patch list. So this is the look of a patch list, which is a collection of patches, obviously, and there's a few known names. So you saw the patches of Pawel that appear often in here, that just held the talk on the AI and cables. But all of this is also available for everyone else on cables, which then gives you the ability to collect patches and share them with other people. And I just noticed that we have this new point public patch lists, and Adrian Herzog already did a patch list of the summer school 2020 patches, which is like a prime example on how to share patches and collect them together and group them. So yeah, great use of this new feature. And this is now how it looks. You can go to the patches, obviously, but more interesting is that you can go to patch lists and just create one, which is really easy. So this is meetup, and you can pick any visibility here, which we get onto later, which is private, unlisted, or public. Private means it's only available to you or anyone who collaborates with you on this patch list. Unlisted means it's basically accessible for everyone that knows the URL, but we don't list it on the public patch list. And public means public, and we list it on the public patch list, as you just saw by Adrian Herzog. Rest is a bit of admin stuff. So we now save this, and now we can add patches. So let's pick one by let's take this one because we were talking about this. And now I just paste the patch ID in here, which is not the patch ID. Nice. This is what I was talking about. Sorry for that. So we just added this patch. First patch always gives you this this image, which is the image of the patch list. And with everything, we try to make this easy to collaborate on. So you now can add people as collaborators, give them read-only access, give them full access, share with teams, and work with that on patch lists. It's a good idea like a good way of organizing patches, maybe something like best practices or my favorite cubes and everything would be a good place to start patch lists, and then make them public and appear in the public patch lists. Super cool. Any questions on that? Otherwise, I'll be moving on a really small thing, that seemingly really small thing. But with your patches, you now have the ability to go to have a more fine-grained, we think, a more easier way to control the visibility. We started with patch lists to make them public and unlisted and private. And we also have the same functionality for teams and everything they share with ops and whatever. And we now started with the last update to also move this whole make public, make private secret URL to a more convenient, more united way of working with this. So you now get, first of all, a completely reworked form on this one, which is not so convoluted anymore. But we give you 3 states of patches: private, unlisted, and public, which basically is the same. Private is for you and your collaborators and teams and whatever you decide to add in the collaborators tab. Unlisted means you can share it with everyone if they know the link, which is a good thing. If you have quick questions on Discord or just want to share with us, or even in the meetup, just share with it. People that know the URL will be able to open the editor and see what you do. And public is the good old public. And because we got some feedback on that, we will be introducing unlisted view only like tomorrow, I think, which then mimics the old thing that we did with the secret URL. A good way to send something to clients and let them show and give feedback on the visual part, but not have them take a look at the actual patching or mess around or remix or clone or whatever with your patch. So this is patch visibility, and all of this is going along with these icons. So now everything has a lock icon and an eye icon, so you should be able to see this. And also my patches now has stuff that has these icons as well. Nice, thank you. Sorry. So I'm going back. So 2 features on working and organizing patches, and working on collaboration, making stuff public. would love to see what people come up with patch lists. I love that Adrian Herzog already is using it in the absolutely correct way to to collect stuff together for the summer school in 2022. So if there are no questions about this, I would just hand over to Pander for the more visual part of this whole thing.
Okay, hello. Yeah, also I think the patch list will be a great way to show better examples in the future, or like make collections of examples. This is also a great useful tool for collecting examples. Okay, great. So I don't know what I'm talking about, so I will just go through the blog post and talk about those things. Okay, so let's start with external canvas. So I will just go to cables and create a new patch. And so this is something I'm really happy with, that we finally have this, because it was really lacking for me personally, and finally we have this. So this is about basically like VJing, or like using multiple displays or projectors and putting content on those projectors, and not only have this little tiny preview window here. I mean, you can make it big, or you can also put it in the background of your editor, but it's always in this one window, and you really want to show it on an extra screen, or with an extra screen is basically an extra window. So we have this new operator that's called external canvas, and this exactly does that. And so right now it's implemented as an operator. It's not in the UI for now. Maybe that will change, but you can create external canvas operator, and it should be above everything else. So everything that's below will be rendered in this external canvas. And so let's have a look at the operator. So it has this button, open window. So when I click this button, you see we are creating a new view of what we're seeing here. So if I change this random cluster here, you will see the changes are already happening in the other one. So what this is really a pixel by pixel copy of the canvas we have here. So, and it also has some interesting options. So you can position sorry about that, the window. You can position the window. You should be able to position the window. Okay, this is some Mac OS thing, I think. So it should position that window at those pixel points, but sometimes it's strange with some operating systems. But yeah, so this should work. You can also change this size. So if you want to go full screen, you have to press your operating system button for making this window full screen. So cables, you can also double click it. So cables also can make it full screen. So you just drag it to your second monitor and double click it, and then it's full screen on your second monitor. And sadly, we cannot remove this about blank. So this is some security thing, so that you know this is a browser window. So you cannot remove it. But yeah, blame Chrome or whatever. But yeah, so this is really cool for this kind of stuff. So maybe you saw it when I maximize this, then you see it's really pixelated now. So this is because it's really a pixel by pixel copy of this canvas here, and this is not what I want. I want this to be full HD. So how do we do this? We can force our canvas to be full HD all the time and not be dependent on the size of this canvas. So we have this operator force canvas size. And now I can say resolution 1920 by 1080. And now you see this gets those borders because this is always scaled down to the size that it fits here. But you're loud.
David Duke is asking if you can have multiple of these, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah. So I can now double click it, and then it's really full HD. And yeah, you can create another one. So I can just create another operator here, and click Open Window, and then you have multiple ones. So yeah. And in the future, it will be possible that you can just grab like one half of the screen and copy it to that canvas, and copy the other half of the screen and copy it to the other canvas. So then you could create like overlapping projector images. So you can have like 4 projectors in a row and just render it once with cables and then project it with multiple projectors. And yeah, so it's a bit complicated, but yeah, this will be possible quite soon, I think. And then we need some way to overlay like a fade out area so that you can really like crossfade between the multiple projectors. But yeah, so this is a bit more work to do, but yeah, it's really helpful, and I used it for VJing. So you can just continue to patch and project it on a second screen. So it was a bit problematic. For example, if you open this window and it searches through all the thousands of operators, you got some frame drops. So also the UI got optimized in many parts that you don't have any frame drops anymore. And this is also like really makes editing more fun, that when there are no more frame drops. So yeah, we all profit from this. And yeah, you can just load your patch, put your external canvas, and then start patching live, and it's really fun. Yeah, the only problem that you have is you cannot automate, at least not on macOS. Maybe on Windows you cannot automate this window to open and go full screen. You always have to do it with the user interaction, as always. But yeah, it really takes only 2 seconds and or like 5 seconds, and then it's done. Yeah, really love this. Yeah, the remote viewer was possible, but you always had this problem that if you have a MIDI signal, which patch receives the MIDI signal, and how do you communicate this to the remote viewer? So everything is just one single instance, and this makes stuff way more easy. Or like your mouse interactions are always from the canvas in the editor, and so it makes it really easier. And yeah, as Pawel just said in the meetup channel, rendering, it's only rendering once. Before you had to render it twice, basically. So yeah. Yeah, try it out, give some feedback if it doesn't work for you, and we will try to improve it. Okay, let's go to the next section, I guess. So that would be shape keys, yeah. So we created a new version of GLTF scene, and yeah, by the way, this is also a patch list now. So you see patches using GLTF scene. And so we have 15 GLTF examples, and this is managed in a patch list, which is also super handy. And so the patch list will go everywhere on the cables page, and yeah, you will see it everywhere. So there's this example, shape key, GLTF example shape key animation. So this example was used with this 3D tool which name I forgot. It's a really well-known editor for faces and for facial animations.
It's does 3D.
Thank you. How do you write it exactly? Like this?
Yeah, DAZ.
Yeah, thanks. So it's this this software, and this generates those shape keys. But it's not only for this. It's also typical mesh animation. So if you have just few snapshots of the mesh, and this should be morphed from one to each other, this is the same technique. So this also is way improved in cables now. So when we look at this, at the structure of this GTF scene, you see there's only one node and there's only one mesh, but this mesh has 19 targets. So this mesh basically has 19 submeshes, and each of those submeshes is a feature of the face. So sometimes it's the noise, it's the nose animation, or there's a brow or the eye blink, and all those parameters can be animated so that the eye blink is now 100% or something, and all those can be animated. And we should have another example for this I wanted to show. Okay, let me quickly search for it. How do I find it? This one. So there's also a new operator if you want to. So by default, it will just be played with the GLTF scene op. But if you want a bit more control about it, or like morph them manually, you need the GLTF morph targets operator. So let's go there. And this has this example, which I want to open. And this shows you, it's basically the same file, but we are not playing it automatically. But I create this beautiful patch here, where we have each parameter exposed with the sidebar. So you can just tweak each parameter on your own and basically control it with sidebars. And there you see like all those 19 different meshes or facial expressions are mixed together, and here's the mouth, and can be controlled. So this is quite cool. You can also go there and create random numbers array. Oh, this looks horrible. And you just have to scale it from 0 to 1. Then it doesn't look horrible. But yeah, so I can just create random numbers, and then they are shown. Then they're shown like this. So you can create really like generative facial features with this. So I can also animate array and plug this in between and do it like this. So now it will create an animation between those random shapes. Yeah, which is quite cool. This is the mesh animation, morph keys, shape keys, whatever you want to call it, thing. Yeah. And interesting fact. So internally, this you can also access it, but internally it generates a texture with all those meshes. So each mesh of those 19 features is basically rendered into a texture, and then this whole mixing, this whole crossfading is done using textures, which is really the only way you can do it with so much data. But it's also for the future. I want to change it that like rigged animations or like skinned meshes also work this way, and then we can crossfade those animations easily via textures. And so, yeah, step by step, we will use this internal texture technique for this, also for other features in the GLTF scene, and then it's way faster because there's just no upload between the CPU to the GPU and so on. It's all just in a vertex shader, basically. Yeah.
And you get all these informations from these DAZ 3D models that you download and just put it in and.
So I heard.
Yeah.
I didn't do this. I didn't create this file myself. But I think there was some cleanup before. But you can easily import it into Blender and then export it as a GLB file. But yeah, I just received this file and fixed the GLTF scene up. So I don't really know. But CFlap, do you want to say something about it? Maybe you know more. I'm sure you know more.
Okay. I also was not involved in this.
Okay. Okay, but I think it's quite the standard way. I'm just not sure if it directly converts exports to GLB, and I think they are really high poly the stuff that they export. So you can easily do cleanup in Blender. Yeah. So those were the shape keys or PLA or vertex animation. There are so many words for this. Okay. Okay, I'm waiting for a question. And then I would continue with some nice UI quality of life changes. So yeah, this one we wanted to do for a long time, but never did it. But then someone on GitHub asked it would be so great. So then we finally decided, yeah, let's do this. And this is super handy. So imagine you have a number, or like let's just use a number, and you want to do some math ops with it, right? So you can now type in multiply 100, and then it will create the multiply op and just fill in this number 100. So I can also divide by 20, and then it will create the divide by 20 operator. And this also works with arrays. So there I have some numbers. So now I can click this and type multiply 10, and then you see the numbers change. So you can do the basic math, basically. You can do with this. I really like that, because like you don't have to click 3 times. You just type it in once, and then it's there.
Yeah, I also got used to this really quick.
Yeah, it's really helpful. And also what I really like is you can also, so probably we forgot some things that we could do, but you can also do this string and then just use add, and then you see already it will give you the concat operator, and then you can connect the other string, which is quite handy. But yeah, it's a nice little tool. I now use it every day, basically. I don't want to miss it anymore. Yeah, then we have the GPU profiler. I will not go into detail, but this is really helpful if you have a big patch and you want to find out what's taking so long. And sometimes it's just the operators that you don't expect that take a long time. So for example, if I add a blur operator, you see instantly, like the blur operator takes like 90% of our computing time. So let's create a mesh instance. Let's create a mesh instance with 10,000 cubes. Where's the reset button? Let me reload. And look at the GPU profiler. And now you see the cube mesh is way heavier than the blur. So I expected it different, but yeah. So let's just change it to 100 cubes, and then you see they're basically the same. And then you can directly see the impact. Something is wrong with the sorting, which will be fixed soon then. But you can directly see the impact of stuff you do. So for example, the blur, if I change the resolution to 512 to 512, it goes down to 15%. And then you see, okay, so this is how you get the blur fast. Yeah, you just lower the resolution and you can see the results immediately with the GPU profiler. So really handy tool, especially if you don't know what's the bottleneck. So it's really easy to debug this kind of stuff. Oh, I also shouldn't do this, but yeah. Really handy. We'll continue to work on this and make it as good as the normal profiler with different tabs and display and pause and resume and stuff like this. So will be improved further. What else? Yeah, we have this cut links. So this is also a feature that we heard that was requested a lot. I need to get used to it, but so you can now press Y and you draw this nice red line on the screen. So if it hits another cable, the cable will be disconnected. So you can just go crazy and destroy everything, like with scissors. So yeah. Yeah. So I think other visual programming tools have this tool, and users always requested that it should be possible in cables. Yeah. So this is basically the big changes. There will be probably some. So we plan to do some YouTube tutorials about the other new ops and publish them. And yeah, if you have requests for YouTube tutorials, please let us know, because yeah, we actually want to know what you guys want to see. So let us know. Yeah.
Yeah, and as always, I mean, you can also check the changelog and the blog post for everything that's been in this release. And I bet we also missed stuff like that in there that went into smaller updates and more convenience options. And so that concludes the September release. And with that, if there's no more questions, as I see there isn't, we might just end the streaming then and invite everyone who's watching on YouTube over to Discord. I think we will be hanging around a bit. I will post the Discord invite link to the YouTube channel, and then we conclude this stream. If you watch the VOD, feel free to join Discord anyhow and join this meetup. Thanks everyone participating for your questions. Thanks especially Pawel for showing stuff around with stable diffusion and the AI. So if you want to keep talking to us, head over to Discord in the meetup channel, and we'll be there for a while. Otherwise, how do you say on YouTube? Like, share, and comment. See you later.
Bye.
Overdraw, by the way, was probably the issue with the cube performance.